David Tepper, better known as David Trash. David Trash is the owner of the Carolina Panthers, as he has turned this team into a dumpster fire. The Carolina Panthers are now known as Dumpster Daves. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about David Trash leading a dumpster fire out of an organization at Dumpster Daves. Apparently, the Panthers have a Hunger Games-like culture in the organization, as there is a major divide in the offensive philosophies of the Carolina Panthers, better known as Dumpster Daves. The Panthers are now 1-11 with no first-round draft pick next year in order to improve their roster. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Is David Tepper the worst owner in the NFL right now? My answer to that question is unequivocally yes. Absolutely. David Tepper is the worst owner in the NFL right now. It's not even a question mark to me. It's David Tepper and then everybody else. Give me Woody Johnson. Give me Jimmy Haslem. Give me any trash owner in the NFL over David Tepper right now. That's how bad David Tepper is right now. Do you guys realize that David Trash has 6 consecutive losing seasons under his Marcus ownership of the Carolina Panthers? And the crazy thing was, the Panthers made 4 playoff appearances in a 5-year stretch prior to David Trash buying the Dumpster Daves. When you look at what Dumpster Dave has done in recent seasons, they went 7-9 in 2018, they went 5-11 in 2019, 5-11 in 2020, 5-12 in 2021. Then he actually improved to 7 wins in 2022. And then you look at the Dumpster Daves now they're 1-11 in 2023. I mean, you look at what the Carolina Panthers have been infected with the last 6 seasons. They have been infected by Tepperware. That's a nickname that I have for the Carolina Panthers because I consider David Tepper to be a virus to the franchise of the Carolina Panthers, so I'm calling it Tepperware. You look at what the motto "keep pounding" used to mean for the Carolina Panthers. That was a statement that used to resonate deep in the Carolinas for many years. Keep pounding was a slogan where the players would simply say keep pounding, and that would serve as a symbolism for how tough they were and that they got to keep fighting for all 60 minutes. Well, keep pounding is no longer a thing that exists in the Carolinas, because the thing that is called keep pounding is now called keep sucking. Find ways to lose games as much as possible, and David Trash is responsible for this. You want to talk about firing coaches left and right? David Tepper, aka David Trash, is the mastermind at it. So David Trash, he fires Ron Rivera in December of 2019, which, okay, fine. You want to fire Ron Rivera, go ahead and do that, but you could have waited till the end of the season. There was no need for you to do an exclusive interview one-on-one where you would talk about wanting a mesh of old and new school football, and he basically disrespected what Ron Rivera did in the Carolinas, because David Trash has no sense of any culture whatsoever in the Carolinas. Remember, this is the same guy that won Mike Tomlin fired back when he was a minority owner for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2017. After the Steelers lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in that playoff game, there were rumblings that Mike Tomlin was going to get fired and that there were minority owners pushing for that move to be made. David Tepper was part of that group. There is no doubt in my mind that David Tepper wanted Mike Tomlin fired. And plus, you look at the statement that he said about Mike Tomlin. He was talking about how he wanted an offensive-minded kind of coach. Well, that's the same kind of statement that he made when Ron Rivera got fired, and he also made that statement when Steve Wilks was not named the full-time head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And then this Matt Rhule guy ends up getting hired by David Tepper. He gives him a 7-year, $62 million deal. Holy cow, who would have done that? Matt Rhule is a clown at his finest, and David Trash thought that for some reason Matt Rhule was going to turn around the Dumpster Days. So when you look at what Matt Rhule did in the Carolinas, yeah, it was predictable that he was going to screw up. And then you look at how he cut my guy Cam Newton in March of 2020. I can't believe that he tried to claim that Cam Newton requested a trade out of the Carolinas. That's what the social media team was saying. But clearly Cam Newton did not want to leave the Carolinas. But he claimed that Cam Newton wanted out of the Carolinas. I think he tried to erase the history of Cam Newton in the Carolinas because David Trash wanted to be the face of Dumpster Days instead of having Cam Newton being the face of the franchise for the Carolina Panthers. This is one of the reasons why I'm wearing Cam Newton's jersey right now. I want you guys to go ahead and see this number right here. You see number 1 right here? Yeah, that's Cam Newton's jersey right here. So obviously you look at what the dumpster fire that David Tepper led into helping Matt Rhule create an even bigger dumpster fire, because all they did was sign and trade for bums at the quarterback position. They signed Teddy Bridgewater, they signed PJ Walker, they trade for Sam Darnold, trade for Baker Mayfield, draft Matt Corral. You look at all those bums that they signed. And the thing was, they were trying to get Deshaun Watson too. The only reason why they didn't get Deshaun Watson was because the Cleveland Browns outbidded them and also gave him an outrageous contract. If it was not for the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson would be a member of the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, that move wouldn't have ended well whatsoever. whatsoever. And then you want to talk about David Tepper off the field. You look at the Rock Hill facility failure that he created. He tried to build another place where it would be called Dumpster Dave's, and it ended up failing miserably because David Trash doesn't know what he's doing. This guy disrespected governors from South Carolina, and he tried to stifle their pay. This dude tried to file for bankruptcy, even though he is supposedly the richest owner in all of football. So obviously, you look at that Rock Hill facility failure, he couldn't even get that part right. Then you look at how he traded away Christian McCaffrey for no first-round pick. Obviously, we know Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in all of football, and Christian McCaffrey was one of my favorite players on the Panthers. Now, I do understand that, hey, you want to get rid of running backs who are on their second contract because those guys can wear down rather quickly. Even if Christian McCaffrey is a special talent, hey, there's no guarantee that he's going to remain healthy moving forward. And he had been proven to be injury prone in 2020 and 2021. So that was actually a valid reason. And you did have a good backup running back in Deonta Foreman. But for some odd reason, after Deonta Foreman balled out at the end of the 2022 season, you elect to let him walk. And then you sign Miles Sanders to a second contract. So if you're signing Miles Sanders to a second contract, why don't you just keep Christian McCaffrey to begin with? You know, the guy that's actually a superstar running back, not a system running back like Miles Sanders, where he was only good because he was on the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you look at how he fired Matt Rhule, which, okay, I'm fine with that. You're supposed to fire Matt Rhule. You probably should have never even hired him to begin with, and you named Steve Wilks the interim. Now, it looks like it was going to be a clown move because he went 3-13 in Arizona, but the move actually worked out. Steve Wilks ended up energizing the city of Charlotte. He ended up going 6-6 for the Panthers, and he almost made the playoffs with Sam Darnold as his freaking QB. If you can get to the playoffs, or almost get to the playoffs, should I rather say, with Sam Darnold at the quarterback position, that's actually really impressive because Sam Darnold is a bum at the quarterback position. But Steve Wilks, he got that team to 6-6 under his watch, and this was after David Tepper said that he would have to do an incredible job in order to be in consideration for the Carolina Panthers. And then when somebody asked him what would an incredible job mean for the Carolina Panthers, he said winning more games than the previous year. Well, Steve Wilks did exactly that. Steve Wilks won 6 games in 12 games, which is something that Matt Rhule never did, and he was bypassed for Frank Reich. I understand why they would want to hire Frank Reich because the Panthers, they wanted to be more of an offensive-minded team, and Steve Wilks was an outdated head coach. But the way how the process was played out was not right whatsoever because they didn't even let Frank Reich hire his own assistants. They tried to build the supposed all-star coaching staff, and David Trash thought that it would be a phenomenal idea to get all these assistants heading over at Dumpster Dave's, but clearly that didn't work out whatsoever. And then they traded away my guy DJ Moore, our wide receiver one, in March of 2023 in order to trade for the #1 overall spot. I want you guys to see this jersey right here. This is a DJ Moore jersey that I have. It's a phenomenal jersey. I wore that all the time during the Panthers down years. They traded away DJ Moore in order to get the #1 overall pick, which is a trade that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because if you want to take a young quarterback, you got to be able to stack weapons on the outside, and losing a weapon in order to select a limited quarterback physically just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And there was a quarterback in that draft class that I thought, okay, we can work with that. The Panthers, they might be able to get a generational talent at the quarterback position. I said to you guys that CJ Stroud was going to be a superstar coming out of the draft, and the Carolina Panthers should have listened to me because had they listened to me about CJ Stroud, we would be in a much better position right now because instead, the Carolina Panthers decided to go Dumpster Dave mode and select a 5'10" quarterback with the #1 overall pick, aka Bryce Young. And Bryce Young has not been good in the NFL whatsoever. I know that he's on a bad team, but shoot, whose fault is it for picking the bad team? It's David Tepper's fault because this guy wants to be the GM, he wants to be the president, he wants to be the head coach, he wants to be the guy coaching up the players, he wants to be everything. He is micromanaging guys like crazy. I mean, the crazy thing is, he fired Frank Reich after 11 games in November of 2023 because Frank Reich and him disagreed about the fit that the Carolina Panthers needed at the quarterback position. Clearly, Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud at the quarterback position. This is not even a debate to me. I already know this for a fact. I've already been told by people inside the Panthers organization that Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud at the #1 pick position while David Tepper wanted Bryce Young. I believe that source. That source makes perfect sense to me. And based on what I know, Frank Reich didn't want Bryce Young to even begin with. And now this guy is moving training camp from Wofford to Charlotte. This guy's just trying to alienate the Carolinas. We might as well be named the Charlotte Panthers. Why don't we just rename the team Dumpster Dave, aka David Trash? Because that's the kind of owner they is. How do you go for 6 years and you can't even be a mediocre owner? He can't even win more than 7 games in a season. Holy cow, that is horrible. Not even Dan Snyder had 6 consecutive losing seasons. David Tepper is 30-64 in his ownership tenure on the Carolina Panthers. He is 24-62 in his last 84 games as owner of the Carolina Panthers. That is absolutely horrible. How do you turn the Carolina Panthers into a train wreck? When you look at all the firings that he's done, he's already fired 3 head coaches in the NFL. He's already fired a general manager. He's already had 6 head coaches serve for him in the NFL. And then you look at his MLS team, he's firing coaches left and right in that department as well. He's about to hire his 3rd head coach in 3 years in MLS. So you look at all the turnover David Tepper has had. I don't know how David Tepper expects to build a winning organization if he keeps firing people left and right. And also the thing with David Tepper is it seems like he doesn't understand football at all. He doesn't understand business at all either, considering the fact that Panthers home games keep getting raided by road opponents. The fans aren't even coming to the home games anymore. Every time you look at a Panthers game, you're thinking, oh, this is just a chance for a road team to just travel well. So that is why David Tepper is clearly the worst owner in the NFL right now. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.